wakes up and has himself some scotch.
I guess it could be like a pretty dark scotch.
Yeah, or
I've
maybe
actually got a pretty dark scotch up there.
Chris is
Let me
a
go
scotch
grab it.
aficionado. He has been collecting for quite some time now.
I haven't drank this one in a while, but it's Edradour.
Oh, I remember that's the salty one, right?
Um,
Sea.
no, you're probably thinking of Talisker. Edradour is like a really small distillery, and I think they only have like a couple employees, and like everything is
That is
like
really
in very
dark.
small batches. I can't really remember the details of it because it's been a long time since I've really paid attention to all this stuff. But yeah, it's like, and they do everything like instead of everything being on like a super built for scale kind of assembly line type situation, it's still done like in small batches, like kind of like more like by hand and stuff.
Nice.
And so there's a lot of variance with each batch that comes out. Like one bottle can just be like wildly different from the next one since it's not so much of an automated chain. There's just more room for variation or error or whatever you want to call it.
Creativity.
But it makes it more, each one's like more unique, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
But it's really dark for a scotch. I don't
For
know if we've got
sure.
any scotch drinkers in the house, but
I'm not gonna lie, looking at that bottle is making me a bit queasy because I was playing virtual golf with Uncle Matt yesterday, and we were doing a
virtual
little-
golf.
Yeah, with the Oculus.
Okay.
Dude, what a fun
You're
time!
gonna give it a little sniff.
No, I can't do it right
What were y'all drinking? Like rum?
now. No, I think Redbreast.
I love Redbreast.
Yeah, it was good, but today it's
15?
I don't red bottle, I think.
No.
No,
Redbreast is green bottle.
then it's not that one.
Redbreast is actually is probably actually my favorite. The Redbreast 15 cask strength. It's stronger.
Sounds-
It's stronger, but I always drink scotch with ice anyway, just because I like cold drinks. I don't
Yeah, I
really
do
I don't
too.
like room temperature. So the ice, so actually diluting it is better. If you drink with ice, it's better to drink the cask strength ones because you just bring it back down, but they tend to have like more flavor anyway. So it's a good
The
drink.
Rain Man of whiskey, everybody.
All right.
Well, tomorrow is Thanksgiving if you're in the States, you know. So I imagine a lot of people are kind of taking an early holiday, but everybody don't forget, yesterday we started 25% off all backlinks, 10% off domain purchases. So, you know, if you need to pick stuff up for a project, right now is a great time to do it on a discount. That sale will be running till the 30th of this month, so you've got time.
Sorry guys, just give us 1 second. Something went down with the Facebook stream, so I am going to try to get that back up. And we will get to the questions here in just a second. Here we go. Looks like Facebook's up and running again. All right. All right, so yeah, Facebook's up and going. We look like we're good. YouTube's good. All right. Sorry, what were you saying? I think I cut you off, or did I not cut you
I
off?
don't think you cut me off, no.
Yeah.
I was just talking about the sale.
Yeah, if you're watching and you don't know about our sale yet, yeah, we're having a huge sale right now. It's the biggest sale of the year. It's the Black Friday / Cyber Monday sale. It's by far the biggest discount you can get on our links all year. Yeah, 25% off all links, 10% off domains.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good for 1 week only. It started yesterday and it goes through the 30th, and boy, are we seeing a good response.
Yeah, that's true, actually. You know, I feel like, to be honest, Black Friday might, so far, it's looking like these sales are gonna kind of push us to our limits, so, yeah.
Not
Hopefully
not
they're
our
gonna
limit
be
as
better.
far as orders that we can fulfill, but it's definitely,
No, but it's definitely gonna keep us really busy.
I think today is probably going to be a record-setting day as
It's-
far as sales coming in. So
seems like it's shaking.
So yeah, a little
And
bit of
then-
an early Thanksgiving gift
Yeah.
from us to you, and also from you to us. We are
Wow.
thankful for you, whoever's whoever's been using our services for some time, and yeah.
Don't
things are
forget
good.
to like, comment, subscribe if you like the show. We need to start promoting ourselves a bit more. We talk about that all the time. But also, for those of you that were wondering about the guest post dashboard that we announced coming out, so you can do a la carte guest posts. We actually just ran tests on that system, and it looks like it's pretty much ready to go. But I think we're gonna open that up pretty slow just to ensure that it's a smooth process. So look out in the group SEO Roundtable. We'll probably be announcing limited access to a select group of you. So
Yeah, we're hoping we'll be able to roll it out. We'll start rolling it out. We thought it was going to be at the end of this month, but it might actually be. It's probably going to be the beginning of next month, the beginning of December. And yeah, we'll probably open it up with a small beta testing group. Probably give them a nice little discount for it as
Yeah.
well, and just help us make sure there's no kind of bugs or anything. Just because it's a completely new piece of not software, but I guess it is kind of like software. It's
yeah,
it's a new little machine, new little code built for us. But yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Guest post coming.
yeah, that's all the news.
But yeah, big thing right now is a sale, guys. Like I said, lasts about 6 more days. So yeah, use code BLACK25 when you're placing your orders for 25% off.
And if you see our maybe our YouTube commercial, give us a little like, if you like
yeah.
the meme stuff we're doing, we like making it. We're not the best at it, but it is fun to make. And I think it kind of brings a little bit of livelihood to the, I don't know, just links a lot working here and the community in general. So, if you like those videos, we'll keep them coming to you. And if you think we're out of our element, just be honest with us there too, and drop us a line and say, Chris, Nick, you guys are dumb.
All right, so yeah, that's all the promotion we're gonna do for the sale. I went ahead and I dropped the link to the actual sale, so you can see the coupon code and all that stuff, the details of it. And I also dropped a link to the YouTube ad that we made that we thought was really funny, but yeah, hopefully you guys think it's funny as well. All right, yeah, let's start getting into some questions, and then yeah, we'll get out of here and we'll carry on with our day.
Hello, Teeth. How you doing? Welcome back to the show. Yeah, that's a good question.
Teeth.
Yeah. He's got a branded name.
called
So,
Teeth. You know
yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Well, yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was actually shot here in Austin.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I have a question about permalinks. If I go in and update an old post's permalink, will that cause the post to be lost or a redirection error? Yes. Yeah, if you're changing the permalink is the URL, it's the actual, so it's like sirlinksalot.co/niche edits. So if I then went and I changed that permalink to niche edits, I don't know, niche edits 1, that's a completely different page as far as Google is concerned. So I don't know what you mean by the post being lost.
Well, so, I mean, yeah, hypothetical, if somebody typed in that old URL, it would go to a 404 page, right?
Correct. So
So
if
it
we
wouldn't show up.
So if we changed it to niche edits 1 like this, and then and you didn't fix all of the URLs on your website or whatever, or someone tried to directly go to this URL, it would just return a 404 like Nick said.
Yeah, or, for example, if you've got that page showing up in SERPs, you would essentially lose that traffic too because you're not redirecting to the new page. And so anybody that clicks on that old page is going to go to a 404 page.
Yeah, so that's the answer I was kind of giving. So if you had the niche edits page and you changed it to niche edits 1, all the power, all the rankings and everything of this page would just be completely lost.
Yeah.
Because as far as Google is concerned, this page no longer exists, and all the rankings and everything that it had just go down the tube with it. So this page would be like starting completely fresh. So, so what you want to do is you just want to redirect this page and point it to the new page. It's really easy to do. You could do it. I just use a little plugin to do my redirects.
Yeah.
I think it's called like Simple 301 redirects.
I use redirection, or maybe it just shows up as redirection and we're talking about the same one actually. And then another option, if redirects, like maybe if you're really new and redirects confuse you, you're not sure, you know, if you're doing them right, even though they're easy to check. You know, you just go to the old, so hypothetical, it'd be niche edit, so you go to that one, and if you're checking the redirect, it'll go to the new page. But if you're really new, yeah, so redirection is the one I use.
Use this one? Okay.
And it's real popular, real simple to use.
I mean, honestly, redirects are so simple. You could just type in redirect like I did here on WordPress when you're looking for plugins, and you could just pick one. Like these things are so simple. It's literally just going to have a little list for you, and it's going to say, what's the old URL? What's the new URL? And and it's done.
Yeah, and you can do that, you know, so you can do a plugin. You could do this one where you're manually adding it. And then there are other ones like WP404 to similar page. Which is going to automatically pick a perm link that is similar to the old one.
This one, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's really good. However, sometimes if you've got multiple articles about similar things, it'll redirect to the wrong one, right? And so then you're not using power properly. But overall, I'd say I found that I find that extremely useful.
Yeah, this one is good. This one's nice to use.
If you've got a ton of old pages,
it's nice to use just as like a fail-safe. So let's say you were going and you were changing a ton of URLs and redirecting a bunch of stuff. Like, what if you accidentally forgot something, right?
Yeah.
Or what if you're working on a site that's not yours?
Or have like 300 like old pages, historical pages you're looking to save date backlink power from.
So this one, like Nick was saying, this one will, anything that's returning a 404, it's going to automatically redirect it to something that it thinks is similar. It will usually, I mean, unless the two things are like extremely similar, it does have trouble. It's not like super smart, and a lot of times it'll redirect to something that's not what you want it. In a perfect world, you would have chosen something different. But it's better to have the link juice going to something rather than nothing.
Yes.
Right?
And
in a perfect world, you'd want to do everyone, you know, manually with something like redirection. But yeah, you could use this one. You could use them both, and this one will just catch anything that you forgot.
That's the trick that I like to use them both, especially on really big sites where I'm doing a lot of 301 work on. And what you'll come to find is that redirection will actually, it's like that there's a hierarchy. Redirection gets the 301 decision making, so to speak, rather than 404 auto redirect. So, you know, if it's going to the wrong place, you can always go into redirection and then flip it to the page you actually want it to go to.
Yeah, so hopefully that helps.
Adrian, what's up, man?
Yeah, Adrian, what's going on, man? Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah, guys, keep dropping your questions if you have any. Otherwise, we're going to start getting to our backlog now.
Glad you like the Black Friday offer. We worked hard on making sure it would be, you know, juicy, so to speak.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Is it safe to have a link on a web page that was de-indexed? I know that's a big requirement for tools like link research tools when determining link health. So I actually took this one from kind of from like a customer service question because I thought it was really good because I think whoever was asking it was a little bit confused between de-indexed and not indexed.
Gotcha.
Which is a big difference.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll kind of get into that a little bit. So first of all, we'll just answer the question directly. Is it safe to have a link on a web page that was de-indexed? And the answer for the most part is yes. If it, so
Yeah,
let's
it's
say
already
this.
dead. I
So
mean,
it's like you got this website, you've got your big website that you really like, and you got a link from this other website, and Google said, oh, this other website that you got a link from, actually, they're doing some crazy black hat stuff, and we're going to de-index the site completely. And we're taking the site off the index, and Google kind of sees this as a bad site now, but they still have a link pointing to you. So the fear is that, because this horrible bad site that Google knows is bad is linking to me, is that bad for my site's health? Overall, the answer to that is no, actually. Well,
well,
there's a caveat. The caveat is you don't want too many of them.
yeah, it depends on, well, so it's like typically if you're building the way that we recommend to build, which is insulating your site properly, doing things that are more natural, your site is going to be more insulated from being affected by, like a PBN link that gets de-indexed. Why is that? Because you've got higher trust, right? However, if you're doing things that are a little bit spammier, you've got one link going to an inner page that got you, some rankings, and then all of a sudden you get de-indexed, and it's pretty, obvious that you were, or maybe even not so obvious, but you don't have the most trustworthy of link profiles. You might get a slap. And depending on how you're building, that can be, a little bit more extreme sometimes. But
Let's
overall,
say it like this though. Like let's say you have a kind of a small site. You've
mhm,
got about 100 referring domains,
yeah.
and you get a link from a de-indexed site, and everything else on your site is
So
pretty
are we
natural.
talking about getting a link? So adding a link to a de-index site, or the
The
site
site the
gets
site gave you a
de-indexed?
link, and then it got
Yeah.
de-indexed,
Okay.
maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's gonna depend on like what that link was doing. If it was an exact match to like an inner page, depending on how well insulated that inner page is. So other anchors, other backlinks going to it. You might not feel it at all. But then other variables to look at when you're considering stuff like that is like what type of link is it? So is it a PBN that got de-indexed? How many outbound links were on that page? If it's just one to your website, it's going to be a bit more of a red flag than if you've got some authority outbound links in there, etc. Right? So diversification of the site that got de-indexed as well as your backlink profile is going to help insulate you um, in those kinds of cases. Like, typically if I see a de-index on something, my money site's not going to feel it at all. Or maybe it's going to get like a small slap that'll last a couple days, but I'm not gonna even really feel it. Um,
Yeah, so
you
like
know,
the way I think about it is that, if you're doing everything else, if everything, by and large, the majority of all your other stuff is fairly natural, you're doing a good job, you're building a diverse mix of links, you don't have, just you're not doing anything super spammy or like ultra very visibly black hat and unnatural. A de-indexed link or even a couple de-indexed links or from websites that got de-indexed shouldn't hurt you. And you can think about it like this as well. Like think about how easy it would be to hurt someone's website with negative SEO if all it took was, giving them links and then having the sites be de-indexed
yeah,
or
maybe
whatever.
spamming the so like you'd send 10 PBNs to a site and then spam
Yeah.
them all out until they're de-indexed. Which I mean, people do stuff like that, but yeah, I don't think it works quite
Yeah, it'd be more like you
as
just
quickly as it
it'd be more
used
like you
to.
just like lost the juice from it rather than like it's gonna like hurt you. Um
Something else to note is like, all of this is based on it. Just picture it like a friend circle, right? Google bots are doing the same thing with these websites, right? So typically people that hang out with only shady characters are going to, birds of a feather flock together, right? Versus, somebody who's got like one friend that's kind of shady might not, fit into that type of circle. The same thing is going on with analyzing your website and actually charting all that data, right? Googlebot is saying, well, that's weird. This website is connected to like count, like let's say you've got 100 referring domains going to your website, and 80 of those are in bad, shady hosting neighborhoods. Or they're all like a specific type of backlink, etc. All that stuff is going to build a sort of profile based on how your money site sits as far as like Google trust goes, right? So yeah, that's kind of what you want to pay attention to if you're looking to insulate yourself from this kind of stuff, affecting you a little bit more.
So now let's go into the question a little bit more, and I want to talk about the difference between de-indexed and not indexed.
Yeah, that's probably good.
So de-indexed means that Google had added the site to the search index. It was saying this is a source of information that you might care to look at. And then basically something happened and Google said, this site is absolutely now not something that should be looked at. And they basically, it's usually they did something super black hat and they got caught. And so they would de-index it. So the difference between that and a site that's not indexed is a little bit different. A site that's not indexed just means that, maybe it's a new site or whatever and it hasn't been added to the index. Or even maybe just a page. So let's say, for example, you bought a guest post. And so, a guest post is actually the website is going, they're creating a new article, they're creating a new URL on their website with an article with your link in it. Well, if they give you, say, hey, we built your link, like, immediately. So their website might be indexed, but that URL that your link is on might not yet be indexed. And it doesn't mean, that page hasn't been de-indexed. They haven't Google hasn't said, oh, this page is horrible and we're de-indexing it. They're saying that they just don't know about it yet. So it's a very, very different situation, right? There was something else I wanted to add though. Have you ever seen Google, will Google so let's say there's this site abc.com and they find the one URL, one page on the site or whatever. Well, is it ever possible for them to de-index one page, or do they always de-index on URL on full domain? So I thought it was just full domain.
Yeah, it's typically full domain, though I've seen certain PBNs basically get de-indexed and then a couple pages will linger in the SERPs for whatever reason, which is pretty strange. But yeah, typically it's the whole domain if we're talking about an actual de-index.
Yeah, because I've never seen. So what I wanted to say was, so if you get a link and the link is on a URL and the URL is not indexed, it just means, but the actual domain you check and the domain is indexed, just the URL that your link's on is not indexed. Then yeah, it's not a de-indexed link. It's just the URL isn't indexed yet.
Right.
So then it's really you don't need to worry about it. But you worry about it in a sense that you want it to be indexed. If it doesn't get indexed over time, then you're probably gonna want to talk to your provider or whatever and have them either replace it or see what's going on with it. But yeah, just to summarize, links from de-indexed sites, or you get a link from a site and it gets de-indexed. It's not the best thing in the world, but in general, if you're doing everything right, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yeah, think about a PBN that gets de-indexed with 10 authority outbound links to random websites. They didn't ask to be put on there, so Google knows that happens, right? So they can't just go out and outright penalize websites based on a hunch, saying, they have to have definitive proof, basically, that, that website was trying to game the system. And I think what Chris said about it probably just, instead of negatively affecting you, just if it did help you out, kind of taking that juice back is a more likely scenario.
What I would worry about is if, let's say let's say 10 or 5, 10, 20% of your backlinks, those sites got de-indexed.
Yeah.
Then you're probably going to be in some trouble.
Yeah.
Because then that is not natural.
1 out of 5 de-index, okay.
1 out of 5? 20%?
Well, I mean,
That's
like
pretty
if it's
big.
like going to like an inner page or something like that, I would feel like you're probably well insulated if you're not using exact match anchors and stuff. But yeah, it is still pretty big. But I don't really think about like I don't know very often
Basically,
build that many links to an
basically
inner
you
page.
just you don't want a pretty good chunk of your backlink profile getting de-indexed, because
Yeah.
then Google says, why is this site continually getting links from websites that we think are super
Yeah.
black hat and are taking off our
Hmm.
index? They're gonna think there's like the pattern is just too much to say, oh, it's just an accident.
Yeah.
You know, if it's just a couple or whatever, that's completely normal and it happens all the time. But if it's starting to make up a good chunk of your backlink profile, you need to worry.
Hmm.
That it's worry time for you. But yeah, but also, you know, keep in mind there's a big difference between de-indexed and not indexed. So yeah, definitely pay attention to that as well. Looks like we got some more questions rolling in. Let's see. What's your guys' opinion on the future of SEO 5, 10 years from now? A few people saying Google are trying to make it so people stay on Google and not go to websites, snippets, etc. You know, it's hard to say. But you're completely right. You know, Google keeps adding more and more features that appear to look like they're trying to keep people on Google and not actually go click through to websites like you're saying. You know, this is Google. You know, there's this line which is like Google as the you know, the benefit, the, you know, the all powerful and all good master of the internet who's helping its users, and the Google which is a profit driven company. And there's rumblings that have been going on for some time now that Google, the super do good company who is just trying to make the world a better place, and Google the business is actually, you know, this kind of mindset has really been winning over in more recent years. Um, yeah, so you know there's arguments that you can make, which like, you know, are these new features that are keeping people on Google instead of clicking through the websites, are these good to the users? And the answer for a lot of it probably is yes. In a lot of situations, it's probably good for its users. It's not good for the businesses, though, the people that you know, who Google is using to serve content to
Well, but
its
at the same
users.
time, it's like, well, it depends on why Google's trying to keep you there, right? Because if it's to serve more ads instead of getting you to the right placement, then I don't think that is good for the user or the business.
But you know, so let's say, it's, for example, something like rich snippets.
Hmm.
You know, rich
Yeah, yeah,
snippets. You know, so someone searches for something and they just get the answer right there
yeah.
without having to click through and scroll and really find it and stuff.
Love it.
So the user loves it.
Yeah,
The people whose websites they are, you know, hate it.
yeah.
If that, you know, unless they click through.
Hmm.
But I think in a lot of cases, you know, what you're seeing is they, you know, you still want those rich snippets because it increases the chance that they're going to click through to see it. But in a lot of cases, you know, there's no click through at all. They just get their answer and they're done.
Yeah. Problem solved. I looked it up and
Yeah.
researched one. Yeah.
And you know, they're also adding more stuff like the Google Shopping or whatever it's called, which seemed like a big a big worry of the affiliate SEO community. You know, it's hard to say how things are going to play out. I I tend to lean more towards the idea that SEO will never die, because as much as there is like this greedy company that's trying to take a bigger and bigger share of the pie, there's always these like ingenious people who figure out a way to use whatever's happening to their advantage.
Sure. Yeah.
So like what we are doing as SEOs, I think in 5 to 10 years will be very different from what we're doing now. Just as what people were doing as SEOs 5 or 10 years ago was very different to what it is right now.
I'll say, like, I got my start 6 or 7 years ago, and the landscape has changed drastically in that it's harder to, especially do gray hat SEO, or well, even probably white hat just due to competition. But either way, it's the same in a lot of ways, and then it's very different. It's gotten more technical, and I think the biggest thing that I would just assume over the next 5 to 10 years is that it's going to get more technical. You're going to have to pay more attention to data trends, what Google's actually doing, why it's doing certain things, and it's not going to be like this. 5, 6 years ago, you could have rudimentary knowledge about, oh, backlinks are good for my SEO campaign, and you could actually like muscle some stuff up with spam. It's not so much the case anymore, and especially in the considering the concept of longevity in the SERPs, you have to be way more cautious than you did 5, 6 years ago, and you have to play the game from a more technical standpoint where you're really monitoring everything, and you've got things that you're prodding all the time. And so I would think over time it's going to get more like that. But then again, at the same time, 5 to 10 years in tech is a long, long time.
Yeah.
So who the hell knows what we'll be doing? I mean, it's a big if, but you could imagine, that Google does get toppled by some wiser, better metaverse search or some shit like that, right? Like, I don't know, but the point is, like, 5 to 10 years, don't worry so much about that. If you're in SEO now, this is if you're doing well at it, then this is career worthy, and there's a lot of room for opportunity. And so long as you're continually learning, continually prodding at things, and you understand that you're really just you're gaming an algorithm, it's a machine, then yeah, that machine will get more complex over time, but that doesn't mean it's not Terminator quite yet.
Yeah, so I think, in 5 to 10 years, I'm definitely an optimist as far, I will never say SEO is dead. SEO is going to be wildly different, but I don't think SEO will ever be dead. As long as there are search engines, you'll have a job.
Yeah.
What I will say though, or one other thing I think would be healthy, as Google starts to add more and more and more, and it gets more and more just like there's kind of just all this crap everywhere, and I think over time, basically a company can only really stay in the spotlight for too long, and then they start trying to take more and more of the profits. They're just really trying to just push like the business end rather than helping people end. And I think over time, people will eventually start to see Google as kind of a boogeyman. Or I hope they kind of start to see
Well,
it
unless
as
they
that way.
change company culture back towards the do good company versus the profit, but
Which
that
they
would
could.
be, I mean, who knows? Yeah.
But I'm hoping to see a serious competitor emerge, a much slimmer, back to basics, cut the crap, less ads.
And then we can start
You know,
spamming again, baby.
just Google, yeah, well, yeah. So it'll be a little bit more like the Wild West, right? But yeah, basically just, you kind of think about it like MySpace or something, or like Facebook. There's just like so much crap, and people get like tired of it, and it's just kind of became like jank with all this just like stuff everywhere. And then, Google was just so nice because it was just Google. Yeah, it was just like a blank screen in the
Yeah.
search bar. You search for it, and then the things come up.
Yeah.
There's not all this crap everywhere, and I don't know. There's just so much money behind it, and a lot of that stuff is so helpful and stuff, and people really like to use it and have really grown accustomed to it. But I'm hoping that an actual serious competitor will emerge. But I guess we'll see what happens. We don't really know what's going to happen. I'm not a doomsday guy. I think we're pretty safe in a career field as long as you're comfortable with keeping up with new information, and you don't think that you're going to be able to just sit still and do the same thing for the next 5 or 10 years and still be having a successful business. I think that's kind of not the way it's going to work. All right, let's see what we got next. what do you guys do for on-page SEO when you want to go in and refresh and update posts? Just add more content and internal links, images, fix out-of-stock products. Yeah, so it's kind of going to determine, if you have out of stock products and stuff, you can definitely update that. If there's any information that needs to be added, you can definitely do that. What I kind of do when I'm looking to refresh content is you could do this manually. So basically, you could go look at some of the top ranking pages for your keywords, and you could see if they cover any kind of if there's any section that they have that your article doesn't have, if they basically talk about a subtopic at any length that you think could be added to yours, especially if more than one of the pages basically talks about something that your content doesn't talk about. You can go and then add that little, just add a new section onto your content with, might just be a couple hundred words, might just be 200 new words of content on there. And so that'll increase your word count. That shows Google that you're revitalizing your old content. You're paying attention to your site, and it shows Google that you're covering the topic in their eyes more fully, and that you're talking about something that the other pages that it thinks are very good sources of information are also covering. We could use something like Surfer SEO to do this, which is what we like to do.
Yeah.
We like to use Surfer to basically just see, what kind of keywords are we not talking about at all, or not using enough or whatever, and that can be a good starting point to see things that you're not covering. But yeah, if you don't want to pay for Surfer, you could just go and look at things manually like that and just see basically what they're talking about on the top ranking pages.
I will say that I would recommend paying for Surfer. It's not that expensive for the.
How much is it?
I can't even remember, quite honestly, but I know it's not that pricey for the value that it adds. And two, if you're just working on one site, maybe it's not that many pages, you could, get a Surfer subscription and just make that, part of what you're doing for your campaign for a couple of months. And then, you can get rid of Surfer once you're, done doing those edits or done adding.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we really like to use Surfer. It just makes it easier. But if you don't have the budget to do it, you could definitely do it manually. It just takes a little bit more time, right? That's something you'd also pay a VA to do, but then that also costs more money as well. But let's see if we answered all this question. Go and refresh, update post, just add more content and internal links. Yeah, you could add more internal links as well, but just add links as it makes sense. You don't need to go and just add a bunch of internal links for no reason. You could. You could add new images if you wanted to. But yeah, in general, when we're updating content, we're doing exactly what we've been talking about. We're finding something that other high-ranking things are talking about that our article isn't talking about, and we're adding that in a new little section with some additional content.
Now, I think something worth talking about is when not to do content edits, because a lot of newer people will typically have, a post that they think is comparable to what's ranking in the top rankings in the SERP. And then they'll start to worry about whether they've got, optimized content without, knowing about Surfer or any tools like that, or maybe looking at, blanket metrics and Moz or Ahrefs, etc. And then they'll go in and they will, maybe spam money keywords in there and try and get a certain percentage density, but without using a tool, etc. And so if you're kind of freaking out as to whether you think your content is optimized or not, just go in and compare it to the top 5 websites rank or pages ranking in that SERP. You'll notice that it's not going to be keyword stuffed type stuff. You're not going to have to go buy an extra 1,000 words of content about something that doesn't really match up, which I've seen a lot of people do too. It's like, oh, well, we've got 3,000 words and the top ranking one only has 500, which at first might seem intuitive, but it's really counterintuitive. Google has deemed, these shorter articles that are more precise or to the point are the ones that are getting, to the user that's searching. And so you kind of want to look more like that versus just adding massive amounts of content, keyword stuffing, things like that. Yeah, hope that doesn't confuse anybody, but I've been there before.
Yeah. All right. All right, let's see what we got here.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you like the show.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Also use code BLACK25 for 25% off all of our backlinks. Our biggest sale of the year.
Mamma mia.
Goes on for 6 more days.
Are there 2 coupon codes or?
No, there's one coupon code, BLACK25, 25% everything, and then 10% off domains if you're buying a domain from us. All right. Are links from non-HTTPS sites worse for SEO?
No.
All right, next question.
Yeah, no, no.
Well, so the reason, so people get a link from a non-HTTPS site. So they basically they get a link and they go to a website, and they say, oh, I want to see the new link that I got. And they type it in and they put it in their browser and they actually go to the page and like, hey, this looks pretty good. And then they see at the top left, not secure. And they think, oh, holy shit. Like, is this some kind of like scam website or something? Like, what do you mean not secure?
Yeah,
like,
which is funny because
now Google's gonna think my site's not secure for people. It's not safe. And so they really start to freak out because they think that it's just somehow like bad or dangerous or something. When in reality, they just haven't paid for their HTTPS, certificate or whatever from their host.
And I remember when Google, it's probably been 5 years or so, but when Google said that HTTPS was probably going to be a ranking factor, right? And everybody started scrambling to put it on their site. This is before, like Namecheap had automation for it, so it was a bit confusing, etc. And there was a lot of broken HTTP to HTTPS websites, etc. But overall, since then, come to find that I don't notice a difference at all in rankability between an HTTPS or HTTP website.
Yeah.
And as far as ranking factors go, like hypothetical from a PBN or something like that, it's going to be negligible if there isn't even like any kind of difference, because you have to imagine, Joe Schmo, the average person who kind of figures out how to build a website, like HTTPS is kind of a technical kind of idea. There's tons of websites that operate off of HTTP versus HTTPS, and they can't just be dismissed,
Yeah. Yeah. So recap, no. I would definitely wouldn't say they're worse for SEO. As far as it being your own site, I would, if you actually have people, it's a website and you actually have people coming to it, I would definitely, I would want to get the certificate just because, when people see the thing, it says not secure, they, might make them feel a little bit unsafe or whatever. But, just from a getting a backlink from a non-HTTPS site, I wouldn't worry about it at all. It's definitely not something that I think, like Nick said, affects, it's not a big ranking factor or anything like that. All right, let's see. All right, Stefan. Have you guys messed around with about and mentions schema? I've seen some success with it, but I'd love to hear about someone else's insights.
Here's where the purest white hats go. Chris and Nick are dumb. Because, while we've talked about this before, while we have messed around with schema.
Well, he's talking about specifically about and mentions schema.
Oh.
Which I don't even know what that is.
It goes to show, like, here we go. We don't really mess with schema.
I do like the absolute bare minimum.
Yeah, it's too much work, quite honestly, for what I've ever yielded as far as return goes.
It's this is something that okay, like perfect world scenario, we should get more into schema.
Yeah.
And it's just something we should add to our SOP when we're doing stuff. It's something that we haven't, kept up with as much as we should. But I also don't think it's as really like I think in certain situations it can be like a thing. But yeah, I don't know. I just everything that I'm doing, I don't use it and it's doing just fine.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
we're pretty keep it simple, stupid as far as our on page goes. We're optimizing content. We're using some like a plugin like Yoast or Rank Map uh, to mess with permalinks and all that. And yeah, then even site structure, it's like we just keep that simple too. I mean, like, we build out hub pages and things like that, but as far as getting like really technical, taking the time to manually go in and really dictate what those crawlers are going to read, I gotta say I'm pretty elementary at doing it. Not that I haven't spent time a few years ago messing with it, but I just thought it was so tedious at the time, didn't yield the results that I was really hoping for, and then didn't have any issues just continuing on with my current uh, recipe for success. Yeah, it's just I'll just be honest with you. I don't worry about it.
yeah. So yeah, we're probably not the best people to ask about schema. I'm not saying it's something you shouldn't look into.
Right.
It's something that we've been lazy about,
Yeah.
and the reason we've been lazy about it is because we felt like we haven't needed it. But
And it's not to say that we're not doing it. We're just doing it
yeah,
inadvertently,
super.
right?
Well,
Because yeah, we're
I do like
we're not
super bare bones
manually
schema.
messing with anything. Yeah,
I do like the most bare bones simple schema you can like possibly do.
yeah.
We're
And
talking
I'm
about.
still getting websites and snippets, etc. Like no problem,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, just
But
things
yeah,
to consider.
not saying don't pursue this more. We're just probably not the best people to
Yeah.
answer it, and yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, but we're willing to be honest. When we don't do something or we're not knowledgeable on something, we'll definitely let you know. There's no pretending.
All right, let's see what other questions we got here. It looks like we got about we started about 5 minutes late, so we got about 10 minutes left, guys. If you have any last minute questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. It looks like we're out of new live questions for now, so we'll go and we'll grab another backlog question. But yeah, if you got any other questions, anything at all, go ahead and drop in the chat. We'll get to you. Let's see what we got here. Definitely don't want a big one right now. Um,
Those all look really
yeah,
big.
I think that's why we haven't answered
That's
these.
so hefty. Wow.
Um,
That's like a whole episode, I feel like.
yeah, we gotta.
What about that last one? Yeah, you could do that one.
Yeah, it's a simple one.
Mhm.
All right. A keyword with about 1,000 monthly search volume and high competition according to Keyword Planner. Is it recommended for a brand new website or not? Absolutely not. Yeah, I just
Yeah, that's an easy. That is the answer. It's no. Yeah.
yeah, I mean a thousand monthly search volume is a pretty like decent keyword, a pretty decent sized keyword. And so even without seeing that keyword planner is telling you it's a high competition keyword, um, I would say as a new website and also as a new SEO, someone asking this question, I would assume is a newer SEO. Um, I would want to stay away from that. I would look for stuff much, much, much smaller. I'm talking stuff that has anywhere between 0 monthly search volume and between like a 0 and 100 is probably a good starting point for you. You start looking at some long tail stuff, some low competition stuff, some easy to rank stuff. And you can start building that up, start getting some traffic to your website, and then you can slowly start building up to these more competitive keywords that are going to take a little bit more know-how to rank, more backlinks to rank. Your site's going to need higher authority. Yeah, that's just kind of how I'd go about things.
Can we do a little draw diagram?
What'd you want to draw?
Just I was gonna show like kind of how you might like position yourself when you're mapping out what you want to go after with a new campaign as a newer SEO. Nice.
All right.
All right, so here, right, you've got your money site, right? Yeah, nice. Look at that. You can't even fucking. My bad, guys and girls.
Yeah, draw bigger. Just draw bigger.
Boom. Right? Nice. Okay. Money site. Money site. All right. So basically, the first thing that you need to conceptualize is what this money site is going to be about, right? And so let's say it's about dog toys. We always use that as kind of like an example. This is going to be a generalized kind of idea about, broad what this website will be about, what we're going to target with it, etc. Right? It's a brand new website. We just purchased the domain. So hypothetical, if you make this about like a specific dog toy and it's got over 1,500 searches or 1,000 monthly searches, like you said, and the competition seems high, that's fine. This is what you want to build your brand around. That's what you've decided you want to go into. Well, the next process would be looking for all sorts of different keywords that you could go after. These would range in high monthly searches with high competition values, all the way down to, like Chris said, 0 to 100 search volume based on things that seem easier to access. Now, one thing I want to note about your question is that you're talking about using Keyword Planner and metrics associated with competition there. But you can't really do that. You can get a broad idea of what the competition is going to look like, but then you've got to manually go in there. And we've got some keyword research posts that we made, 2 of them, that you can go through and kind of get an idea of how to effectively go find solid keywords to go after. But your money site is going to be about that, right? And then hypothetical, initially you find, let's call them goal set keywords, right? Keywords that over time you think would be accessible, that, would relate to, making money, essentially. These would be money pages. But with a brand new site, it's going to be hard to rank for some of these things, right? If not, extremely hard. And so with a brand new site where you really find the juice that's worth the squeeze and where you're going to be really able to gain access to those SERPs more easily is through those 0 to 100 smaller keywords that are going to be related to this product somehow, or related to the overall website, right? So maybe it's like something about how specific dog toys made out of certain materials are better for, dogs in general. Or maybe this product is a certain, bone for dogs, and this talks about that particular material. This talks about why that material is healthy for a dog. But in understanding this and conceptualizing the questions that a user might ask Google in consideration of the products that eventually you're going to target, you're going to find that if you get these ranked early on, and they're already set up to feed into the bigger picture, which is what this money site's about, or what the target is as far as selling a product goes. Once you get the trust in here, then you're going to more easily be able to go after bigger search terms, right? So you start off at the 0 to 100s and you get as much traction there as you can. And that's going to help feed your website and the trust flow towards the ones that are worth a bit more cash over time. And if that's part of your bigger campaign with link building, etc., then you're going to come to find that this is a effective tactic.
Yeah, and just to paint a little bit more of a good picture for you. So,
You don't like my picture?
Well, no, I'm gonna use your picture. I love your picture. It's very, very good.
That's art.
I'm gonna change my color to red though,
I like
'cause
it.
I'm a little flashier.
Nice.
Like the size a little bigger too, because I'm more important. So, this page right here might actually be like one of your big like affiliate selling pages, right? So we're not saying don't make this page. This might be from the question, this might be the 1,000 monthly search volume, high competition. This is the page you really want to rank because this is the one you're going to make money off of, right? So you're still going to go ahead and you're going to make that page because your website needs to make money, right? You still need it. But I wouldn't so much expect this one to rank right away, especially if you're new to SEO and you got a brand new site, like you said. So you still make this page, but these are the ones you're actually going to focus on ranking first. You're going to focus on these smaller details. Is this material good for my dog? I don't know, whatever, where it's made from.
My dog pooped this material.
Yeah, I don't know. Just any of these smaller things that are still, you're talking about this just more in depth and something that wouldn't be included on this specific affiliate article page. And then as these build up, these start to rank, then you're kind of giving more credibility to this one, right? Your site's getting bigger, you're getting more backlinks over time. Then this one is eventually it's going to start doing better, and then you already got all the supporting content for it as well. So it's just all around, just focus on ranking these smaller ones first. You're still going to have this one already built, just wouldn't expect it to rank right away. And then eventually over time, you can start gunning for this one, right?
Yeah, and even after I've got a site that's
sorry, one more thing.
Yeah, good.
And that's not to say that this one won't make any money yet, because you're actually pulling in traffic from these smaller ones as well, right? And then you use internal links that say, well, hey, go check out this article. So you're really trying with these articles. They're informational, but the real purpose of these articles is to get people to go to
You're building funnels.
This page, right? So you could actually, it's a way of getting people to this page without actually ranking it yet.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they kind of seem to forget that, like, hypothetical, if I'm building this site, I never stop going after those smaller targets either. They're always worth earning that traffic from. So even if my site's gotten massive credibility, and I'm working on these money pages that, basically auto rank or don't need too much to rank, I'm still going to go after these informational articles because they're worth the extra juice, the extra traffic. And even if I'm already ranking there, I want to solidify, that SERP ranking by making my site the strongest out there and the one that brings the most value. I like that. It looks more like bunny ears this time. But yeah, so, you can always go after these. They're not just, beginning stages of a project type links. They're worthwhile to continually go after.
Yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. And it looks like we do not have any new questions in the chat. Let me check one more thing. All right. I think we are gonna go ahead and call it there, guys, because we're at right about an hour. Yeah, so thanks for showing up. If you don't know about it already, biggest sale of the year, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Use code BLACK25 to get 25% off all of our backlinks, 10% off all domains. I've dropped links to it in the chat, so go ahead and use that if you need to.
Goes on to the end of the month.
Yeah, you got roughly 6 days left, so go ahead and be sure to take advantage of that biggest sale of the year. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Mailing list, Facebook group, SEO roundtables. You can ask questions anytime, not just on Wednesdays.
Almost that time again where we're going to pick a group member of the month, which we've been doing 3 months. This will be the third month. So
Technically the third month.
yeah. So if you're in the group helping the community out, making sure that you're just helping be supportive, then yeah, just know we've got our eye on you for a $200, right?
Yeah, $200 into their Sterling Select account.
Yeah.
Yeah, every month we are our Facebook group member of the month for SEO Roundtable. We are giving them a $200 just spending stipend where they could just go use it on any of our products. Just for the person that helps out the most. And we've got got an article on that as well if you want to know all the conditions and stuff that we judge the winners by. Yeah, thanks for showing up, guys. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and we will see you next time. And happy Thanksgiving. Happy American Thanksgiving. Hopefully, if you're an American, you go and you have some good time with your family instead of stressing out about SEO for one day. You can take a little bit of time off. It's good for your mental health. Yeah, see you next time, guys.